Good afternoon, guys. Today we're going to do a quick video on dividing fractions. So earlier on in the year for our grade 8s, we looked at multiplying and dividing fractions, and this is just a little bit of a review video. So for our first example, 8 divided by 1/2. So our strategy is always the same. We change our division symbol into a multiplication symbol, and we flip our second fraction, only our second fraction, never the first, but our second fraction, find its reciprocal. When we flip a fraction, we call the result the reciprocal fraction when we flip it. And so now we have 8 times the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1, and now we can simply multiply through as we're accustomed to doing. So we have 8 times 2, which is 16 over our denominator of 1, and 16 over 1 is clearly 16. For number 2, we're going to use our same strategy of converting our division symbol to a multiplication symbol, and now using the reciprocal fraction of 2/3 by flipping it. And so we now have 10/9 times 3/2, and we can use our good old-fashioned multiplication strategy. We could multiply the numerators and multiply denominators right away, but I always encourage my students to simplify first to help reduce the complexity of our calculations. And so if we start with the numerator 10 and the denominator of 2, the reason we can simplify across fractions is because what we're really doing is we're multiplying the numerators and we're multiplying the denominators. And so this becomes all on top of a single denominator. This becomes one fraction in and of itself. And so now we can see that the factors simplify down nicely. So 10/2 simplifies down to 5/1. You can just imagine a fraction of 10/2, and it simplifies down to 5/1. And then likewise, you can imagine a fraction of 3/9, since they're all multiplied together under the same fraction. A fraction of 3/9 simplifies down to 1/3. And now whatever we have left, we can multiply and find a final quotient. And so 5 times 1 in the numerator gives us the numerator of 5, and 3 times 1 gives us the denominator of 5/3. And there we have it, okay? So you don't have to write it over the same denominator. You can simplify at this step if you're comfortable. So 10/2 would simplify down to 5/1, and 3/9 would simplify to 1/3. And you can jump right from this step to your final solution, your final quotient down here. But if you wanted to know why we're able to simplify across fractions, it is because we can write them over one single denominator, and then the factors simplify down nicely. And so again, applying our same strategy, number 3, where we have mixed fractions, let's start off by converting our mixed fractions into improper fractions. Let's take the time to do that. That'll make our task much simpler. So I'll write it down explicitly over here. To convert our mixed fractions into improper fractions. And so 3 3/4, we multiply the whole number by the denominator. 3 times 4 is 12, and we add our numerator. And so we have 15/4 divided still by, we multiply our whole number 1 times the denominator of 8, that's 8. And we add our numerator of 7, that is 15/8. And now we can use the same strategy we've been doing in examples 1 and 2 of changing our division into multiplication and looking at the reciprocal for our second fraction, that is flipping our second fraction. And so we obtain 15/4 times the reciprocal of 15/8 is 8/15. And now I'm gonna omit this step of writing both fractions under the same denominator just because of simplicity's sake and convenience's sake. And so now we can simplify through these two fractions. We have 15 in the numerator and 15 in the denominator here. And so since they're all being multiplied through together, those simplify down to 1 and 1. You don't even need to write 1 and 1 because when the multiplying and dividing by 1 does nothing at all. So we can simply factor them out and just cancel them out completely without writing anything in their place, implying that there are 1s there that we don't really need to pay attention to. And likewise, we have 8/4. So 8/4, again, you can imagine a fraction of 8/4, and we know that simplifies down to 2 and 1. And so now, putting it all together in the end, we have 1s we know are there, but they really don't do anything. So all we have left is 2/1, and we know that anything over 1 is itself, and so we get a nice quotient of 2. You can write 2/1 and then 2, not necessary, however. We can simply jump to our conclusion of a quotient of 2. So I hope this helps. I hope this was a helpful refresher of how to divide 5 fractions and dividing fractions in general. And please let me know if any comments, suggestions, requests for future videos, and thanks for watching.